In all the examples we've done so far, the namespace for the project was automatically created and named after the project itself. For example, if the project was called Person Details, then the namespace was called Person_Details. Person_Details is the default namespace of the project for Person Details. Since namespaces cannot have a space in the name, an underscore was automatically added for us. The namespace is something where similar classes, types, etc. are all grouped together. That way, we can refer to these classes and types later in the project by its namespace. We have used the int and string data types by the lowercase c# keyword. These keywords are actually just shortcuts to classes built into .NET. The int keyword really belongs to the system.int32 class. int32 is a class located in the system namespace. This program would run the same if you were to replace the first 3 lines with the code that you see here. So the int and string data types are from structures called system.int32 and system.string. We have also used console.writeLine many times. The console.writeLine belongs to the system namespace of system.console.writeLine. These 2 lines in main are doing the exact same thing. The statement using system is a directive that tells the compiler to look for the types referred to in this file under the system namespace. If we remove the line using system, then the more simple console.writeLine statement will no longer work. We will then be required to use the fully qualified name for the type, like system.console.writeLine. In Chapter 2, we created a console application called Person_Details, where we asked for a name, address, and age to display to the console window. This application was done for the user, and we were required to define 3 variables, one for the name, another for the address, and another for the age. If we wanted to extend this application for 5 users, and each user uses 3 variables, we would need a total of 15 variables. What if there was a data type called person in our program that held name, address, and age? It would be more complex by holding 3 pieces of information in one data type. Sadly, the person data type does not exist right now in .NET. The good news is we can achieve this functionality by creating our own data type that can contain these 3 fields to store name, address, and age for a user. Let's create a console application and call it Person Record. Let's start Visual Studio and go File, New Project. The name will be Person Record. Now in our program.cs file, we see the Person Record namespace is automatically created, and inside is the program class, which holds the main method. Let's create a new structure or a new complex data type called person that will hold name, address, and age. Right above the program class, but still inside of the person record namespace, type struct, which is short for structure, and call it person. Inside the curly braces is the definition for the person struct. The following code will define the fields for the person struct. We'll type public, string, name, and public, string, address, and public, byte, age. Public is an access modifier that just allows other classes and structs, like for example, the main method in the program class, to access these fields. Now, we know how to declare a variable of the data type int. To declare a person variable, we do the same thing. The following code is a side-by-side example of declaring an int named I and a person variable named P. Setting the int I to a value is easy, as it only needs one assignment, like you see here. The person P variable can be assigned 3 values, one for name, one for address, and one for age. We need to assign all 3 of these one at a time. Let's create a person object as a variable called person1 inside of our main method and assign some values to its field. person1, and end with a semicolon. Now we will say person1.name is equal to, and we'll give the name John Doe. And then we'll say person1.address is equal to 123 Tech Street in Washington. And we'll say person1.age is equal to 23. Let's print the assigned values to the console by typing the following code. And make sure the code is after the above code, but still inside the main method. Go console.writeLine. And in the quotes, we will say name, variable placeholder 0, and put a comma, and we'll say person1.name. And end the statement with a semicolon, and we'll pause the program at the end with the console.read key. Let's see if we get the name John Doe. Run the code. Yep, it says John Doe. Let's populate the other 2 lines. To pull out the address, we'll use a console.writeLine, and to pull out the age, we will also use a console.writeLine. Let's run and test this code. As you can see, we were able to pull out all 3 fields of the person1 variable. The struct data type is a user-defined data type and is also known as a custom or complex type. In a struct, you're not limited using string or int for its members. We are free to choose any data type inside of a structure, including custom data types as its members. A few examples about structs are seen in this code sample. The employee struct is using a string, an integer, and a date time. The company struct is using a string, an employee data type, a date time data type, a bool, and an integer. Time for Lab 3.1, Skill Check 1. Take a moment to pause this video and challenge yourself to do this skill check. That will do it for Lab 3.1 on structures. What do we got next? Lab 3.2, enumerations.